You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do our review for WandaVision, episode 7. We're getting close to the end here. Another solid episode, but not exactly, I think for many people, not exactly the most revealing episode. I think at this point in the show, in fact, I even remember by episode 2, people were already kind of coming out and saying it's Agatha Harkness. So that wasn't a huge surprise, but it's cool to see that we're finally getting to like the end game of this show. And yeah, it was another solid episode. Probably not my favorite one. The last few episodes have been really good, but still, again, a solid episode. Interesting enough, we didn't get to see who exactly was the friend that was supposed to be helping out. I'm guessing we'll probably get that in the next episode. Look, I have no clue who this might be. I said in my last video, my wild guess is Hank McCoy, who is also Beast. But I said that as a hopeful because I felt to myself, he kind of fits the bill. And it'll be interesting to see if they are starting to lead into the X-Men. Then it would be, and if it turns out that Wanda's powers actually have an effect to open up the mutant gene, so to speak, it would be interesting to see if Hank McCoy is there, because he was one of the first ever X-Men. So to see Hank McCoy there would, to me at least, would make sense if that is the direction they were going, but we don't know. So far, a lot of people are still kind of figuring out who else is the other villain behind Agatha, or, is she even aware that there might be something even bigger behind the scenes? Again, these are questions that are going to be answered over the course of the next 2 episodes. I don't think they're going to make a huge reveal of, there's a part of me that believes that if there is a Mephisto / Nightmare / Shumagaroth, pulling the strings, I think that'll be revealed in probably the Doctor Strange movie. I don't know if they'll reveal that here. I mean, again, this is supposed to link to Doctor Strange 2 as well as some parts of Spider-Man. I don't know. It's really kind of hard to tell what direction they're going to go in terms of the villain. I also don't think this is a setup for their big bad of the next phase. I still think that that's going to be exclusive to either Doctor Doom or Galactus, if not both. But in terms of this episode, it's really interesting as we further see that Vision is really trying to put some pieces together. He was able to kind of get, I will call her Kat Dennings because I always forget her name on the show. But she got caught in there. She was in part of the circus, woke her up, and she provided him with a lot more information. Wanda is kind of, losing her powers, not losing her powers, but she's, you can see in the show that she starts weakening now. She doesn't have a handle on everything. She doesn't even, I love the fact that they use The Office as the opening for this show. And then of course they use that theme throughout the show. There's scenes where Vision is being interviewed. There's scenes where obviously Wanda is being interviewed, as well as Kat Dennings' character. So I thought that was very cool. Obviously a very popular show. It's still one of the most top streamed shows. I've seen all seasons. I thought the show was great. Kind of finished a little bit weaker, but those first 3-4 seasons were fantastic. So I like that. I like that they kind of brought that in. But what I love the most is when they reveal that Agnes is Agatha and that she's been behind everything. They kind of use a variation of the Munsters. So, and it's funny because ever since then, the Munsters theme song has been stuck in my head because I loved that show when I was a kid growing up. So when they revealed her and they started using like a Munsters variation of the theme song, I thought that was great. I thought it was great. We finally get to see that Monica has gotten her powers. Obviously, she doesn't understand it yet. Wanda got a little taste of it when she thought she was going to slam her to the floor. And obviously, Monica, unintentionally stopped herself from getting smashed to the floor. So she obviously is not fully aware, but she knows something's going on. And just there's a lot happening at once. You got Vision on one side trying to figure things out. You got Wanda up until the very end of the show questioning her powers. Now it's been revealed what's going on, but it looks like Agatha got her under control. The kids are missing now. You got Spectrum into the mix. I mean, there's a lot going on, and there's 2 episodes left. I heard that one of them is supposed to be in about an hour, so we'll see if that's the case. But man, there's so much going on in the show. There's a lot of things to kind of close. I don't think this show is gonna have the kind of conclusion we hope. I do think there'll be one big question hanging up in the air, and we'll get the answer to that question in one of the movies. But I do think it should be a satisfying ending enough to at least find out what's going on. How does Wanda get out of this if she does? I remember when they were talking about Doctor Strange 2, they said that she would be somewhat villainous in that movie. So it could be that we roll into that movie with her under some sort of control, but at the same time, if you look at the trailers leading into the next few episodes, it looks like her and Agatha are going to have a big battle. So interesting. I mean, you got Vision, Wanda, and you have Spectrum. So I'm assuming Agatha is not going to throw down by herself. Now, the wild card here is obviously Quicksilver. We saw at the end of the episode through the end credit scene that as Monica found the basement to Agatha's house, she's heading in, and Quicksilver cuts her off and says Snooper's going to snoop. So, and then Spectrum's eyes glow purple. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Now, the Quicksilver thing is, again, with that is we also learned that Agatha seems to be the one that pulled him out of nowhere. And we saw a reshoot of that scene when he came to the Maximoff house, and we saw Agatha sitting on the lawn, controlling him with her purple powers. I mean, it's just so much going on. And again, if you read the comics, you get an idea of what's going to happen. But again, they are changing things. There are things that are not exactly the same. And that's the parts you have to kind of pay attention to. I don't know if it's going to be Mephisto up in there. I don't know if it's going to be Nightmare. I don't know if it's going to be Shuma Gorath. But I think it's not just Agnes. That much I'll say. And the Nexus commercial. Oh my God, that was such a big thing. So the Nexus, I don't know if all of you know this, but the Nexus is like the central hub for all realities in the Marvelverse. And this is kind of where Scarlet Witch's, like, her powers, kind of derive from the Nexus. So I think that's why Agatha is so interested in controlling her and using her powers. There's probably something Agnes wants that she can access with Scarlet Witch's powers, and that's why she's trying to rein her in. So, man, it was a great episode, and I'm looking forward to the last two. I'm not going to lie, okay? I'm really hoping that this is leading to bringing in the X-Men, and I still have a hunch that it is, because I'm hearing rumors now that in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, there is going to be some Weapon X references. So this is why, like, a lot of people were talking about or hoping that Reed Richards or John Krasinski would kind of debut here as Reed Richards. And there's still an outside chance of that happening because, again, I think we're going to see that character in the next episode. The reason I don't think it's Reed Richards is because they did say that the Fantastic Four were pretty far off. Like, they're working on it. We've seen the logo. They announced that. But I think the X-Men are probably the next up in line. And now that we have Evan Peters on the show, Scarlet Witch is the child of Magneto, as is Quicksilver. And this is a very House of M kind of storyline, and that is an X-Men storyline. So I think this is just, my prediction is that Scarlet Witch will trigger this power, this dome she's created, everything that's going on will trigger the mutant gene to people across the globe somehow, some way. That is my bold prediction. This is why I had the crazy prediction of Hank McCoy being the one that helped out Monica and I forget the FBI agent's name. I always forget his name. the lesser prevalent characters, I always forget their names really quick. But yeah, that's why. And again, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't have any sources. This is just a wild toss up. Because I am an X-Men fan, that is what I read mainly in my growing up when I was reading Marvel comics. So I would love to see finally the MCU take the reins of the X-Men and do it the way it should be done. So this is why I'm hoping that this is an X-Men related kind of introduction. And they've had more dealings with Mephisto than some other characters. I mean, Mephisto, Nightmare, and all these characters have all had interactions with different heroes, even Spider-Man. But the X-Men went that route a lot of times with Mephisto. So, yeah, I'm hoping that's, if Mephisto's there, I'm just hoping this is an X-Men related, like, introduction or small introduction into them coming into the MCU, whether it's done through the multiverse or whether it's done through the mutant gene. That again, my guess is going to be triggered because of Scarlet Witch's powers. That remains to be seen. But anyway, that's it, man. I'm looking forward to this Friday's episode. Man, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. It's good stuff. The show's really taken off ever since the first few episodes, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it's gonna go. So, what did you think of episode 7, and what do you think is gonna happen next 2 episodes? What do you think? Mephisto, Shumagorath, Nightmare? Do you think the X-Men are going to be leaked into this universe via the multiverse, or maybe the X-Men mutant gene? Or do you just think they're setting up Doctor Strange 2? Because it could just be as simple as that. Doctor Strange 2 and nothing more. So anyway, that's it for this video. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.